From the death cell, right into Execution of Flash. Next on Crown Jewels on the PLD Projects Network. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Crown Jewels here in the PLD Projects Network. I'm your host, PLD, and welcome to the podcast where I'm taking you on a journey through the entirety of the Queen catalog, chronologically, Queen and solo records chronologically, as you listen to every song, every version of every song, try to figure out which version is the titular Crown Jewel or best version of the song to slide into our ultimate playlist. I will give you notes and quotes if I have them, and we'll talk about it a little more, listen to it, and then we just discuss the track. We are back after a few weeks discussing Queen 1, the Collector's Edition box set, which gave us all these new versions to listen to. Last week we got back to our Flash Gordon soundtrack where we left off. We are now on Execution of Flash, and this is going to be another short one, folks. This is a one version track, no live stuff, no demos, just the studio version to listen to, which makes it pretty easy to determine which is the crown jewel, doesn't it? But we got to listen to that. We'll talk about it a little bit. And with that being said, let's just get right into it. Execution of Flash is written by John Deacon, featuring John Deacon on guitar and Howard Blake on orchestrations. That's right. That's all there is to it. This is, for all intents and purposes, the first John Deacon solo track. Yes, Howard Blake's on orchestrations, but it's basically all John. That's because it's a very short song. It's only about a minute plus of John noodling on guitar with some orchestrations in the background towards the end. So let's get right into it. Not much else to listen, not much other note-wise. No one's ever talked about it. John's never mentioned anything about it. There's no real history about it. That's all we know. So we're going to listen to it and come back and we'll give a brief chat about it before we move on to next week. It's going to be a quick podcast, like I said this week, folks. All right, let's listen to it. How do we listen to it? Well, I don't want to get copyright struck, so what I do is if you look at the show notes below, you'll see a link to a Google Doc. On that Google Doc will be a link to a YouTube version of the song. So you can pause me, go click on that link, listen to it, come back, and let's finish this out. All right, see you soon. And there you have it, folks. 1 minute, 5 seconds later. It's a short debut for John Deacon, and not a whole lot to talk about. In fact, the guitar does sound very reminiscent of what he just played last week on In the Death Cell. What we listened to last week in the Death Cell, the Love Theme reprise, featured John on guitar as well. Similar orchestrations there, similar arrangement there, not much different there. We do have some nice orchestral beats at the end as we get into the more somber section when Flash Gordon is executed. Spoiler alert for a, however long movie now? 25-year-old movie at this point? Jeez, I'm getting old. 25-year-old movie. And I don't think it comes as a surprise that Flash Gordon is brought back and is not the end for Flash Gordon. But it is a nice little 1 minute stab. That's really it. It's a nice little noodling piece, but not a whole lot to it. So there you go. And that's going to do it. We know what the crown jewel is. It is the album version. That's all we got. So once again, we were left without a full episode. I guess that's the drawback of trying to do every single song, because some of them just don't have different versions to listen to. So there's only one crown jewel. But I do get to rate it, though. I do get to rate the track on a scale of 1 to 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. What do I give Execution of Flash? Well, I'm going to give it a 5.5, which is kind of a little bit of a cop-out. Is what I've been giving these short and sweet tracks here, where it's hard to judge. I mean, how can I really judge this as a full song? It's not a full song. It's a little bit of noodling. But, I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. It's not like it's like a bad song. I can't really rate it really super low, but I also can't rate it super high because it's just kind of, again, a little noodling. So a 5.5 seems right in the middle. Seems a nice, solid, fair way to do it, even if it may seem a little bit like a cop-out. All right, folks. Well, that is going to do it for us this week here on Crown Jewels. That's Execution of Flash. Next week, we have The Kiss, which, shock and shock, we actually have alternate versions to listen to. We got a nice early version to listen to. It's a nice track with some Freddie vocalization, so I can't wait to get to that. One of my favorite tracks on the album, I think. But that is next week on Crown Jewels. All right, if you did like us, like I said, hit that subscribe, hit that like, all that kind of stuff. Leave us comments, help us fight the evil algorithm. If you want to join our Patreon, patreon.com/PLDTrionics. I try to get these things up early for Patreon listeners or viewers or whatever you'd like to call yourself. I also like to get up alternate podcasts and exclusive podcasts, things of that nature when I can. Hopefully you can enjoy yourself there. And if you can't, I get it. If you can't afford to or whatever, I completely understand. I don't blame you. You could just do everything else possible that's free within your grasp. The like, the subscribe, the share, all that kind of stuff. And we will see you next week for The Kiss. Bye now.